what I'm gonna do while I'm doing this video is I'm gonna be jumping up and down, just jogging on the spot, just to burn some energy, okay? Cause man, today's been hot and man, I feel like I've taken a pound and my body feels so heavy and everything. I actually fell asleep, all kinds of shit, stuff like that. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, we got Terrence Crawford making comments about Charlo, and Charlo actually responded to Terrence Crawford and letting him know, hey dude, you know what I mean? So Terrence Crawford came out and he was looking at the knockdown, and he was insinuating that, it wasn't real or something. So Charlo was like, hey man, look here. You a cool dude and all that. You don't want to be messing with me, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be messing with me. Because Charlo responded to him and Terrence Crawford then came out and said, hey, keep my name out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, if you want to get an ass whooping, and then Jamel was like, hey, you a cool little dude at your weight class. I think Errol gonna beat your ass, but hey, you don't say nothing to me. Okay, homie? Don't say nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? And people thinking that Terrence Crawford, he could jump up to 154 and beat Charlo. Me personally, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a good idea either, to jump up to jump up to 154 and take on that guy without any kind of conditioning whatsoever to prepare you for 154. You looking to get knocked out, okay? You looking to get stopped. KP from KC says he'll get killed. Yeah. I mean, catch a manslaughter charge right there. You know what I mean? And Jamel, of all the Charlos that you're gonna pick, if you pick Mel's crazy. Like Mel's crazy. Like, if you haven't realized, just look at when they went in the bubble. Mel was losing his shit. Mel's just crazy, man. Benavidez was walking by down. Yeah. But as what's his manager's name? Cameron, I think it is. Whatever his manager's name is. He said, Bud came from 135. He was always a big 135. That's another thing. That people don't really, it just came across my mind. Bud has always been the bigger guy in most fights when he's fighting his opponent. At 135, he was the bigger guy against Ricky Burns. He was the bigger guy against Gamboa. Always had the reach and height advantage. He was the bigger guy against Ray Beltran. You know what I'm saying? At 147, at 140, he did fight Julius Ndongo. Okay, Julius Ndongo was much longer than him. All right, he was much longer than him. But Julius Ndongo, his fundamentals, man, he don't bring his hands back in time. You know what I'm saying? He throw it out there nice and long, and then he don't bring it back. That's why Ndongo got beat up by what is it? Yeah, he 5'9", 74-inch reach. Yeah, fighting midgets like Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy ain't nobody, right? He even fought John Molina, like a punching bag John Molina. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he did fight Jeff Horn, which physically, weight-wise, was bigger than him. He wasn't stronger than him, but he was bigger than him. Weight-wise, because Jeff Horn, he retired at 154, was really 160, and then he came down to 154. I think he fought as high as 168, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff Horn. So he was a physically bigger guy than, weight-wise, than Terrence Crawford. Not stronger than him or anything like that, And then Amir Khan did fight at 160, but I'm pretty sure Terrence Crawford came in the bigger guy of the two on fight night. So he's been mostly a weight bully, you know what I'm saying? Victor Postol was taller than him. I think he was as long or longer than him. But the point anyway is, Terrence be bumping his gum. Charlo, a whole different beast. He's 6 feet tall. I think he has a 74, 75-inch reach. He's much taller. He's much longer. And he's well schooled. I remember when Jamel fought Vanes Martirosyan. I always liked Jamel because I always thought he was the prettier of the two fighters. Jamal was more, textbook. But Jamel was the guy who was pretty. He reminded me of Floyd when I saw him box. He would like throw, for example, he'd bait you with a left, and he'd counter you with a right. Might even pull counter you and then roll under. He was beautiful. Love what he did to Varnish Masarosi and how he outboxed him. A lot of people didn't realize his boxing skill. And against Rosario, he showed that boxing skill again. And again, like Mayweather, he doesn't depend on the jab alone to freeze up an opponent or keep him at bay. He feints and lovely footwork and just a lot of really nice things he brings to the table. I didn't see it so much in the Tony Harrison fight, but I definitely saw it in this fight. And he showed he could box a guy several different ways. He could fight you on the inside, the outside, all around game. And the problem with Terrence is a guy who feels he can go toe to toe with you because he's always been dealing with guys who are either less strong as he is or smaller than he is. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that shit against Jamel Charlo. You just can't. You ain't playing like you're going toe to toe with Jamel. He has developed the technique to really have more power. That's one thing that Derek James is really good for in his gym. He really gets fighters, like Derek James said, you don't have to be born with power. Emmanuel Stewart used to lay down the law and say you had to have power. You had to, you know what I'm saying? You had to be born with power. No. What Derek James showed you is, no, power can be cultivated. And he's done an excellent job with Errol Spence. And he's done an excellent job with especially Jamel Charlo. In fact, Jamal Charlo said Jamel has more power than he does now. Which is crazy. You know what I mean? Mal being the older one. Yeah, you got big male, you got small male. And the thing about it is, if you really think about it, right? They're twins, right? Which means genetically speaking, male could go up to 160 tomorrow. He'd have to have a different weight regimen, to put on some weight and put on muscle mass and stuff. But male could do that tomorrow, and he'd be hanging in there with middleweights. You know what I'm saying? He's really got the potential to do that because he's that big. But he's been very disciplined. They've been very disciplined, exercising and stuff. That's how he's been able to stay within that weight range to make the 154-pound limit. Which, again, very professional boxers. Very professional. And you got to give Mel the credit. Now, I'm going to tell you all something. What I'm doing, the camera's bouncing up and down because I'm jogging around. I'm just kind of jogging on the spot or jogging around. You do that every single day. You will not put on a shred of weight. You'll sweat a lot. But this simple little exercise where you're moving your feet, let me tell you, the muscles of your body that burn the most amount of energy are your feet. Okay? So if you don't want to put on weight, right? Don't sit around a lot. Okay? Anyway, back to Mel. So Terrence be barking, but he ain't doing nothing other than that. He just barking. He's not biting. I said, I was listening to some people trying to defend the people who are the Crawford fans, trying to defend Crawford. And again, what I say is, I may be a fan of a boxer, and I talked about Blue Blood Sports TV. Shout out to Blue Blood. I may be a fan of a boxer, right? But that boxer is not bigger than the sport of boxing. It's just not. Okay? And we're going to talk about Conor McGregor, Manny Pacquiao. We're going to talk about Mayweather, McGregor. We're going to talk about all of that before we're done here. But let's just get to the point. So that when some people are saying, hey, man, Crawford, he would beat Jamel Charlo. One of the things I just want to say is why is it that some people have so much hate for the Charlos? Why they have so much hate for Clarissa Shields? Why they have so much hate for Errol Spence? What did they do? They did nothing but prove that they were the best. And why is it that when you prove that you're the best and you say that everybody's hating on you, all of a sudden they hate her. And and they're like, hey, Terrence Crawford will beat Errol Spence. You don't know if Terrence Crawford could beat Errol Spence. You don't know that. What has Terrence Crawford done in terms of elite opposition or top tier opposition in the division to prove that. Edgidis Kavaliauskas, a top 10 fighter, okay. Jeff Horn, a top 10 fighter, okay. He dispatched them. He stopped them. But what we know about Errol Spence? Who he been facing? He been facing top 5 fighters. Top 5 fighters and pound for pound fighters. It's a totally different category of fighter. You know, everybody's very dismissive of that. But yet, Edgidis Kavaliauskas, he's top 10. And I got a beef to pick with what's his name? With my boy, my man, Troy Killertainment, Troy King. Because Troy King's talking like if Terrence Crawford faced somebody. Oh yeah, he faced 2 top 10 fighters. Jeff Horn and Edgidis Kavaliauskas. Okay, he faced 2 top 10 fighters. Errol Spence faced who? But who did Errol Spence face? Because everybody's criticizing Errol Spence and his opposition. Oh, Carol Brook was damaged goods and all this bullshit, right? Carol Brook was the #1 welterweight in the world. Errol Spence faced him. Okay? Who did Terrence Crawford face on that level? And you know, like I said before, it's who you faced and who you beat, and when you faced them and when you beat them. Right? So all of a sudden, Kell Brook is damaged goods, even though he's the #1 welterweight in the world, because the fight before Gennady Golovkin broke his eye orbital. But guess what? Errol Spence didn't break his eye orbital on the eye that was broken, so that he was not damaged goods. Errol Spence broke the other eye orbital. Now you could say, oh, well, you know, Kell Brook was coming off a loss, which is not true, because Kell Brook had another fight in between, and then he had the Errol Spence fight, right? Some people say, well, Kell Brook was weight drained. Okay. So why is Terrence Crawford trying to pick a fight with Kell Brook now? Like, none of this makes sense, okay? So anyway, my point is, listen, they're saying that, you know, Terrence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? He's pound for pound #1. He's all these things, okay? Which I never agreed with. But anyway, he's all these things. And this is the competition he has. 2 top 10 fighters. But yet Errol Spence is crap. And he faced Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson. All these are top 10 fighters I'm talking about. Mikey Garcia, who it was a pound for pound fighter. Okay. Sean Porter. Okay. Who was top 10 fighter and also was the WBC champion when he faced him. Okay. And Lamont Peterson was the WBA secondary champion or regular champion at the time that Errol Spence faced him, even though he was stripped of the belt because he wanted to go face Errol. Okay. And then Errol Spence also faced Chris Algieri, former world champion. Okay. All of these guys that I'm speaking about, well, Chris Algieri, I don't think Chris Algieri was top 10 at the time. But the point is, all of these guys I just mentioned, with the exception of Chris Algieri, were top 5 fighters. Top 5 fighters. Now he's facing Danny Garcia, another top guy, okay, which Terrence Crawford himself said Danny is no joke, and he would love to face Danny Garcia. These are the kinds of guys that Errol Spence is facing. Oh, okay. Terrence Crawford's not facing these guys. And don't do like, oh, well, you know, they don't want to face him. Sean Porter wanted to face him. And it's Terrence who told him, hey, man, I got other ideas. I have other roads I want to go. Okay? Sean Porter just beat another fighter, okay, to put him in line to face Errol Spence, okay? But the thing about it is that Errol Spence gets all this flack and hate. This is what I don't understand. You see? Why is Errol Spence getting all this flack and hate when he's faced better opposition than Terrence Crawford at welterweight? Much better opposition. And on top of that, he's proving, because he's now a unified champion, he's proving that he is the goods that he said he was. Now, he did say, oh man, I'm going to demolish Sean Porter. He did not demolish shit. It was a competitive fight. All right. Which I have to go rewatch. But my point is that at the end of the day, people give him a lot of flack. They give Carissa Shields a lot of flack. Talking about Carissa Shields is trash. And I'm like, what the hell? Anyways, back to what I was saying. So Terrence Crawford opens his mouth and says that, you know, Errol Spence, I'm sorry, I mean that Jamal Charlo, keep his name out the mouth, and he's trying to threaten Jamal Charlo. I'm like, dude, this is Jamal Charlo. This is a guy who can box. This is a guy that knows boxing. This is a guy that's dedicated to boxing from the beginning. And this guy got a chip on his shoulder. He not gonna go. If Terrence, if Jamal Charlo faces you, he's not going to try and get the fight to go the distance because he doesn't know if the judges would rob him. So if you really serious about facing Jamal Charlo, you better get yourself in order. Like you got to be in the best shape of your life, and you're gonna have to put on a little bit of muscle mass, and you're gonna got to get a hell of a lot stronger because Terrence hits hard. Yeah, he hit hard, but he don't hit like Jamel, and he sure as hell don't hit like Errol. Okay, Errol is sharp and precise with his punches. Terrence is an elastic kind of guy, and he got nice timing and everything, and he trade, right? He wing punches too. Errol Spence don't wing shit. Errol Spence shoots. Watch how them guys shoot. And you hear what the Charlos was talking about, the two brothers, before they started the fight. He said, okay, you're going to shoot him like this. You got to shoot him here. These guys are snipers, man. These men are scientists. They perfected the art of just targeting the guy. And they're very explosive, very quick. They're not like, how Terrence Crawford is. He good. He have timing and shit. But these motherfuckers shoot. Like you hear what they're saying. And you just listen to them. Very, very aggressive. And Errol Spence is the same. That's the gym he come from. Derrick James gym. All right, I'm gonna keep it on the D-Lo because a lot of people be hating on Errol and stuff. So I'm gonna keep it on the D-Lo. I ain't gonna say nothing. Everybody talking about Danny Garcia gonna beat Errol, and okay, we'll see. You got a mad hatter like Jamel Charlo that you spar on a daily. You saw what that motherfucker did to Rosario. That's who Errol spars, man. Y'all ain't got no respect for the game. That's a guy Errol spars. Terrence Crawford can do something to Errol, huh? Okay. We'll see. Danny could do something to Errol, huh? Okay. We'll see. Coming off an accident, huh? Derrick James. Y'all have no respect for the game, man. Y'all have no respect for the game. But it's okay. Nobody got to say nothing. We'll just watch. We'll see what happens, right? Let's move on. My dude, I like John Rael Cassimero. And John Rael Cassimero, he clearly is looking forward to mixing it up with Naoya Inoue. You know what I'm saying? He actually called him out. He was like, man, they call you a monster. You a monster, motherfucker. he said, brother, I heard it. I think you are a Japanese turtle. That's what I really think you are. But he couldn't really elaborate like he wanted to. He was saying that, this kid, that he had to face, Micah, good little kid and thing, but he was really looking forward to facing Inoue. He was training for Inoue, you know what I'm saying? And he had to face Micah. He really wanted to face Inoue. Hey man, I like Cassimero. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about his style because it don't really make a difference. Cassimero, a lot of people liken him to Manny Pacquiao, but I think Manny Pacquiao move a lot more. Manny Pacquiao is not as deliberate, scientific, observant as a Cassimero. Manny Pacquiao move in and out to the side. A lot of footwork, a lot of some of it's unnecessary, And Cassimero, he's more deliberate. He stays still on the outside, but he looking to shoot. He's like a shooter. See. This is the thing a lot of people don't understand. Boxing's a sport where you have to be deliberate, and it's like it's a science to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you were a real killer, right? In boxing, when they tell you about real cold ass killer, Sugar Ray Leonard understands this, and he even said it about Floyd. He said Floyd's a bad boy. He a bad boy. You got to understand, a lot of people get caught up in power. How Jamel even took out Rosario. I heard a lot of people saying that was a soft punch, man. First of all, it wasn't soft, but it was a short punch. It was two short punches, and he stepped in on both of them. He stepped in on the first one so that Rosario would commit up top, and he raised it all up, and then he came straight down with the second one. Nice planted second one, nice full on his belt line, and knocked him back. That's how sick it was. And he started spasming out and shit because he was so tired. And I think that Rosario, he actually was weight drained in that fight. Coming into that fight, he had to make weight. And what I heard, and the Charlos were talking about this, if you were looking to come into the bubble to try and make weight, yeah, that's not a good idea, because they don't have this ideal thing. It looks like he came into the bubble and he decided to shed off the last set of pounds in the bubble, and that I probably fucked him up. You could do all that. That's the thing with boxing. You could do all this work and then come down to the last things to do, and you could fuck up major, So I say all of this while I'm jogging on the spot and shit, getting a little burn, is because a lot of people don't understand the science to boxing. A real killer in boxing is not necessarily somebody that's getting knockouts. It's their attitude and what they do and how they attack an opponent, how they snipe an opponent. And like the Charlos, you don't blink and then boom. Even Deontay Wilder used to catch you with a punch you never seen and you didn't expect. And just be fast, sharp, and quick. Pow! Zap! And Charlo, that's what Charlo did. But it was two short shots. And he stepped into both of them. It was doop, doop. That was it, right? And it was the shots by themselves. A lot of people don't understand this. That's why they talk about setting up a punch. And even the best power punchers, they set up their shots, right? They see the shot and they set it up. But one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is Rosario was getting broken down. He started getting battered from the first round, right? When Charlo knocked him down. And he was getting broken down throughout the fight. And the shots, I try to explain this to people. And Cassimero was one of those guys. And Chavez was one of those guys. And Mayweather was one of those guys. They consistently throw certain kinds of punches to the body. And the first attack that guarantees you a knockout later down the road is attack to the body. And you have to understand the science, and you have to understand how to proceed to do that. Because if you're just trying to go in there and body punch, you could get knocked out because your head's exposed. If you don't know, and Cassimero is a guy that has perfected certain stances. Like a guy was telling me, Cassimero don't move his head. And I was like, what? Didn't you see his defense? How it's off to the side? Troy Killertainment talk about this. Off to the side, that classical boxing stance, that's refined. Cassimero's refined it. A lot of the shots that y'all thought Cassimero was getting was hitting his shoulder. He was hitting this. He was just doing like that and was hitting his shoulder. He wasn't getting hit with a lot of punches against Micah. And he hurt Micah to the body early. I think it was in round 1. Micah started throwing some heat because he felt the body shot. And the thing that took him out eventually was the accumulation of punishments to the body. And that right spleen shot did it for him. It broke him down, froze him up. He wasn't quite the same after that. He gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work on those abs again. You're gonna have to work on those abs. Because body shots, if you don't tense up properly, body shots, man, will mess you up. And Cassimero was tagging him with body shots straight throughout. And it's an in and out thing. It's kind of like a hyenas. attacking a lion. And the lion, on a one-on-one with one hyena, he'd take him out. But with a pack of hyenas, and they attacking him at intervals, always when at a point where he's weakest, that is where his defense is the weakest, they'll take him down. That's called ambush fighting. Cassimero is an ambush fighter. Pacquiao's an ambush fighter. May was ambush fighter. Jamel Charlo was playing the role of an ambush fighter against Jason Rosario. Sharp, fast, quick, explosive. I always have an answer. Called counterpunching. And that's the thing that makes these guys dangerous. That's what makes them bad boys. And defense is not just, whether you use a shell or it's your movement. Your defense is your movement. And how you set up your opponent so that they're hesitant to come in on you. See, defense is psychological. Boxing is 90% psychological. When Jamel Charlo put down Jason Rosario, he respected him. He wasn't just going to go walking all the way through him. That in and of itself, that offensive move was a defensive move at the same time. Defensive fighters always think defense. It's true. You got to learn defense first. Look at Roger Mayweather, the great Roger Mayweather. What did he teach those little kids? How to block punches, roll under punches, roll from punches, keep their balance, have the proper stance. You see? That's what he first teach them. And as they're learning their defense, he's teaching them their offense. What's the first line of defense? Everybody say it with me. Your feet. And it's not about moving around the ring or running around the ring. Your feet, it could involve changing levels. So what's the first thing they got you doing in a gym once you're doing boxing? The first thing they're supposed to be doing with your feet? You ever heard of squats? That's the first thing. You got to be able to squat. I was watching that AB, aka Andre Berto, in my boy's gym, and he couldn't squat. His feet, his thighs were too tight. He was too tight. You gotta be able to squat. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to squat. Why am I running around and around in a circle? Why do you think? It's my cardio, and also it's also for my endurance, my stamina, everything. Now there are other exercises you can do, which could be more effective in terms of explosiveness, etc. Sprints and all that stuff. But for durability, Carlos Palomino, man, used to run miles. That motherfucker used to run miles. Y'all want to patent yourself after a fighter who was great. Carlos Palomino, man. Durable, never been stopped. Okay, conditioning. That was the thing with Carlos Palomino. Conditioning, one of the longer reigning welterweight champions. Conditioning, man. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So these boys, the real killers out there, they don't come straight at you and just go straight to war. No, man. No. Like martial arts, like the old Chinese and Japanese martial artists, the art of war, the Vietnamese, they taught us this. You don't have to have major weapons, but you got to have your tools, and you use the tools to your advantage. The art of war. So that's boxing. That's real boxing. That's the real bad boys. The real bad boys, shit. The real bad boys, they know how to get you, and they're gonna work the game to make sure they get you. Anyways, going on, I was saying that Cassimero, man, he's one of those guys. He's a shark. And he KOs most of his opponents because he breaks them down. He gets to the body. He breaks you down. And then he'll attack you with a punch you just never thought, you never saw. You thought you covered it. And he makes ground. He catches you with the shot. Because he doesn't work that out. And he have a game plan for Inoue already. They got a game plan for him. They seen what happened with Donaire. They see how he opened for that left hook. They see everything. Okay, what did he first stun the guy with? Micah. He stunned Micah with a left hook. What you think that mean? What you think that mean? Right? Went to the body, came over the top with a left hook. I'm just saying. People need to pay attention. So Cassimero ain't no joke. He's younger than Nonito Donaire. He's more skilled than Nonito Donaire in many ways. And if Donaire, he took Inoue's punch. If Donaire could have done that to Inoue, break his eye orbital and shit, oh, Cassimero gonna give him more problems. Cassimero's gonna give him some problems. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. It's gonna be an interesting unification fight. And Cassimero, he chomping at the bit for that. He won that fight. So that's what I got to say about that. Teofimo Lopez, he had a little interview with some of the fans, and he said, "Man, this fight ain't even lasting 3 rounds. It's not even going past 3." The talk that these young guys say. We'll have to see. It depends on their game plan. Lopez is obviously looking to knock out Lomachenko. And we'll have to see how. I'm not going to say nothing about this fight. All I'm going to tell you is I'm just going to report on shit. I have nothing to say. I've said my piece. Y'all know who I'm backing. But 3 rounds, I say if Lopez gets him, it'll be within 5. I mean, it's possible it could happen in 3 rounds, because if he sees what he's supposed to see, and he does what he's supposed to do, it could happen sooner. But I have it a fight that goes to 5. At least it makes it to almost 5. Within 5 rounds. That's what I see. But maybe I'm wrong, because I know they have a game plan. I know they had a long time. They've seen Lomachenko. They know what he do. And this is the reason why. You see, okay, so I'm going to explain a couple of things to people. When a young fighter gets his dream, which is to face an older fighter he's been watching for a long time, he knows that older fighter quite a lot, because he's watched him a lot. And he gets the opportunity to face him. It's kind of like Jeff Horn with Manny Pacquiao. He kind of understands what he needs to do to beat him. So this is another reason why I picked Teofimo. And then again, Lomachenko he'd been touched up quite a lot the last couple of fights. And it's not necessarily that he's declining. It's that fighters, especially like, for instance, Luke Campbell's has sparred him quite a lot. So Luke Campbell knew what to expect. And so having dealt with certain fighters like Pedraza and Campbell, Pedraza's not known as a knockout artist per se. And Pedraza touched him up, and Campbell touched him up. And then when you think of his introduction to the lightweight division, where he faced Linares, and Linares was able to touch him a little bit with the right hand, even though Linares was doing a lot of wrong things, but he caught him with the hand that you're supposed to catch a southpaw with, which was the right hand. And the reason he caught him with the right hand was because Lomachenko was coming straight down the center. My point is this: all of those things add up. All of those things went into my computation, and I said to myself, Lopez is known for counterpunching guys and getting them out of there. That's what he do. Okay, he's just not some guy who's a lucky. I heard Lomachenko say that. Lopez, he lands these lucky punches. He's not somebody who's just lucky. That's calculated. Okay, what he do. And Lomachenko has to be able to engage Lopez. He has to get into the pocket with him. He has to. So if Lopez restricts the options Lomachenko has for getting into the pocket, from making him go one way or the other because he's pivoting with him, then Lomachenko going to have a problem and he had to come straight down the center. And if he's coming down the center, he's going to have to take right hands. He's going to have to take. That's the kryptonite of every southpaw. I don't care who they are. The kryptonite of a southpaw is the right hand. Okay. So I remember Roy Jones Jr. versus Reggie Johnson, I believe was his name. Reggie Johnson. Great fighter. Reggie Johnson, southpaw. Great fighter. Roy didn't knock him out, but he definitely dropped him several times. And the reason he was able to do it is because Reggie Johnson had to come down the center. And when he had to come down the center, there's the right hand waiting on you, because Teofimo Lopez is so explosive. You know, he's so explosive that that's a problem. That's a serious problem. So when Teofimo Lopez said that, you know, it might end before 3 or within 3, I was like, oh, interesting. You know, that either means he's very confident about what their game plan is, or he just blowing smoke up our ass. We will know very soon. But Teofimo Lopez, he looked very hungry. I look his face, his mindset is like he has something to prove. Like he's like, okay, y'all counted me out. Okay. He looks kind of animalistic. He ain't shaving nothing. You know what I'm saying? You could tell this dude is getting it down. So we will see. We'll see what comes of that. You know, and Arum ain't got nothing to lose either which way. And let me just say this abundantly clear. I'm saying all of this as a preface so that people understand that I appreciate Lomachenko. I don't take nothing away from Lomachenko if it goes that way. All right? If it goes the way that I said, I'm not taking nothing away from him. If it goes the way I don't say, I'll be so happy that Lomachenko proved me wrong. You know, I'll be happy because it would show and legitimize Lomachenko as not just a great boxer, but an exceptional boxer. You have to put him in an exceptional category now, because to beat a young, hungry, strong, skilled, talented fighter, and to do it by having to resort to other means to do so against him, would tell me a lot about Lomachenko. So I really got a problem either way. But I am definitely rocking with Teofimo Lopez. I think this is his time to shine. I think he's spent enough time knowing what he's getting himself into by now. And he should be able to execute the game plan that he has. Lomachenko needs to be as strong and as well-conditioned as he possibly could be, because I think if he's well-conditioned, he's going to weather the storm against Teo. And if Teo can't knock him out, Teo's going to have to come up with, oh, it's great that it's raining. Teo's going to have to come up with some other way or means to win the fight. So, if his thing is to stop Lomachenko and he ain't thought past that to a hard 12 rounds, now the fight has begun. So, even if he does hurt Lomachenko, but he can't get him out of there, because that might be his thing, to try to get Lomachenko out of there. His thing going to be now, if Lomachenko survives that, what's he going to do? So I hope he has not just plan A or B, but C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z plans. Because if Lomachenko makes it out the round where he stuns him, he hurts him, he can't get him out of there, and he makes it out of that round, now the fight has begun. So we'll see. We'll see if Teofimo Lopez can do that, because that's one of the things with people from New York, you know, they're very Tyson-like in their approach to things. You know, Tyson was very destructive within 3 to 4 rounds, 5 rounds, that kind of thing. But after that, it's a real fight. And if a guy make it through that, what happens then? What's your go-to plan? What's your extra dimensions? That's what we got to find out. Now, Jamel Charlo showed us dimension. He showed us composure. Can Lopez do the same? I remember when Deontay Wilder knocked down Tyson Fury. And Deontay Wilder never knew. He never knew in a million years Tyson Fury would get up from that punch. And when Tyson Fury got up from that punch, it was a totally different fight from there on into the next fight. And the question will be, is Wilder well conditioned? Is he in the best condition of his life? Because he's going to need it against Tyson Fury. Because he's going to have to take some punishment. Tyson's going to punish his ass in the third fight. It's going to be hell epic. But if his defense is fine and his punch is there, it might be a George Foreman kind of thing if Tyson Fury lapses, but because Tyson Fury got all the advantages against Deontay Wilder. He just does. He just does. He's got years and years of boxing behind him. You know what I'm saying? So here's what it is. Let me talk about the other fight that I want to talk about. So Manny Pacquiao, we find out, and I put it in a boxing group, is going to actually be facing Mikey Garcia next. Mikey Garcia is the front runner to face Manny Pacquiao. And I remember the president of Manny Pacquiao Promotions saying this, right? That they were really looking at Mikey Garcia. So the negotiations for that are almost through. So Manny Pacquiao will actually be facing Mikey Garcia, which is a great thing. Mikey Garcia is a former 4-divisional world champion. And to be able to have the opportunity to fight for the WBA Super Championship, shit, I wouldn't turn that down as Mikey Garcia. And that's a winnable fight for Mikey Garcia. He's a very dangerous opponent. He's got a lot of power, a lot of pop, very good defensively sound fighter, and very good counterpuncher. And he won't have to worry about a reach advantage that Errol Spence had on him, or height advantage on him. He just has to deal with Manny Pacquiao's in and out nature, speed, and quickness, and he knows about that. He'll have to do some speed drills and stuff to get up to speed. But I think Mikey Garcia is going to get the opportunity of a lifetime. And where Adrian Broner and Keith Thurman, took certain things for granted, and their inexperience at that kind of level showed, I don't think Mikey Garcia is going to have that problem. And remember, Mikey Garcia faced Errol Spence. So he's faced the very best welterweight right now in the welterweight division. He then faced Jesse Vargas and showed us why he's Mikey Garcia. The question will be, will he keep his hands at home so much because Pacquiao's just so busy? I think that's a good fight. I think Mikey Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao is a very good fight. It's much better than Conor McGregor versus Manny Pacquiao, which we're going to talk about after. Conor McGregor said his next fight might be Manny Pacquiao. Well, it will be Manny Pacquiao. And I think Mikey Garcia was saying, yeah, that will be his next fight. But he thinks that he's going to face Manny Pacquiao first. And that's a fight in which a lot of people are writing off Mikey Garcia again. I don't know why. This is a pound-for-pound fighter that you're talking about. So a lot of people are going to be shocked when it's a very competitive fight. And it'll be even more shocked if Mikey Garcia wins. But that's a nice fight. It's a dangerous fight for both guys, mostly Pacquiao, because Mikey Garcia hasn't really taken much wear and tear. He's got really good defense. So that's actually going to be a tougher fight for Pacquiao. He's 41 years old. He's putting on some age now. So, but he's been training like a motherfucker through COVID-19. So I expect Pacquiao to really show us, again, his legendary status. A lot of people are dismissing Mikey Garcia as an easy fight, which is not the case. And this is a 41-year-old man. It's not the case. And of course, remember, damage and injury carries on with you all the way up into your later years. That's where it really manifests itself, So you look at Thomas Hearns right now. He's not what he used to be, right? Let's just put it that way. So, and that's because he took so much damage from punches, and that's why Sugar Leonard said, "Hey, man, I don't want to be punched no more." Right? He's not into that. Julio Cesar Chavez on the other hand is like, "Bring it on!" Chavez said to Jorge, "I said, bring it on, motherfucker!" Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, so when I look at like when I look at I just stopped jogging for a second there. KP from KC says Khan got a featherweight chin. That's funny, man. Uh when I let me get back to jogging, right. So when I look at that matchup for Manny Pacquiao, that's a good fight, man. That's a good fight. And I do hope that Pacquiao can do well in that fight as well, because it's another legendary champion Pacquiao would have faced, and probably a future Hall of Famer. It depends. We'll see how everything pans out with Mikey Garcia. But Mikey Garcia is doing great, man. He's getting the matches he wants, and I hope he gets the Pacquiao fight for him and for his legacy. That would be a great fight. But that's the next fight for Pacquiao, man. And then he's gonna do the exhibition fight or the actual fight that might go on his record. It doesn't matter. With Conor McGregor, and that's a good money fight. And nobody's counting. nobody, nobody in the boxing community is thinking that McGregor has a chance to beat Pacquiao, far less last maybe a round or two with him. I don't think anybody's thinking that. But maybe Conor surprises us. Maybe he gets proper training. I don't know. The way how he's throwing his shots, my God. I watched it in his bar, and I was saying, this is target practice. Oh man, that fight might last about 10 seconds of the first round. When Pacquiao, boom, boom. The fight is over. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's gonna be so funny. And Pacquiao there. Oh, I thank you. I did my best. I trained really hard for this. I trained really hard for this fight, and I did my best. Conor McGregor, man. I ain't get put to sleep. Get put to sleep for a couple, 10, 20, $30 million. That's good payday, man. It's good payday. That fight ain't lasting very long. I heard somebody say it'll go five. If it goes 5 rounds, I'm like, what? Pacquiao carrying him? It'd be, some people say it'd be like the Ricky Hatton fight. I don't think so. I think it's a fight that lasts a couple seconds. I think that fight lasts a couple seconds and then it's all over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. McGregor ain't got no defense. He throw them wide looping shots, come straight down the center. It's all over. It's all over, man. Styles make fights. That's not a good style of fashion. Conor McGregor. He'd be staring up at the ceiling wondering what the heck just happened. He won't be able to say good fight. Nothing. The fight be over before it even started. Oh my gosh. Oh. People would feel like they cheated of their pay-per-view money. Pacquiao got to go in there and carry him a little bit, just kind of circle him, let him throw some stuff. Oh, maybe even let him touch him. You know what? Let me put my chin out there. You got to play with him a little bit to make the fight look like it's convincing in some sort of way. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hit me. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Hey, Pacquiao, man. He to make it entertaining, Pacquiao's going to have to carry him. Even if it's 2 or 3 rounds, he'll have to carry him. Let McGregor do his thing. Make him feel good, get his confidence up, and then just crash his ass, and that'll be the end of that. But Pacquiao had to carry him to make that fight entertaining, because in a real situation, real talk, he gets Conor McGregor out of there in seconds. In seconds. You saw what you saw what Floyd did to Tension. Pacquiao do that to McGregor. He ain't gonna last a round. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there ain't no other way around that. I wanted to talk about something else that had to do with boxing. They talking about Mayweather versus Logan Paul. All right. By the way, these are fights I'm not gonna watch. I'll probably watch it post, but I'm definitely not paying no pay-per-view to watch no damn fight like that. Okay. I like competitive fights. I like fights which I know. Okay, so if you're a fan of Mayweather or you're a fan of Pacquiao, they're showcase fights, right? So that's how I look at them. Whether exhibition or even an actual fight, it's a showcase fight. And you can't say it's a stay busy fight because, but it is a showcase fight. It shows you the skills and the abilities. That's why it's called exhibition. It's like a glorified sparring match. That's what it is. And that's what you just if you think of it as that, then it's okay. Me, I watch. Back in the day, they used to have these. Okay, fighter would go out to different countries and different places and have showcase fights. So that's part of boxing. Okay. It's not for you to take too seriously. It's not competition per se. It's just something to showcase the skills of a fighter. Right? Julio Cesar Chavez used to go back to Mexico and showcase himself to the Mexicans. That's why the Mexican community loves him so much. His bigger fights would be in Las Vegas and in Texas and those kinds of places. But his showcase fights, he'd go back to Mexico and fight a Joe Blow or some other guy with a lot of record, just so the Mexican people could see him. So Manny Pacquiao's at the end of his career. He's 41 years old. Okay, just like Floyd, he's done. He's retired. He's what was Floyd now? 43, going on 44. So these guys are just doing showcase fights. They're going around the world, letting people see them. Some people think that he could knock out Floyd. He could. Okay, fine, whatever. So the Logan Paul fight. If it were to come to fruition, I'm not saying it's something, it's just a rumor. But if it were to come to fruition, okay, it's just a showcase fight to showcase Floyd's skills. It's not Logan, even though Logan's, a name that's known in YouTube land and stuff. It's not so much about Logan, it will be about Floyd. And introducing him to this new set of fans that Logan has who don't really watch boxing. Are not interested in it, but they're interested because of Logan. So Logan will bring those fans to know who Floyd Mayweather is. So that's the idea behind exhibition fights. That's the idea behind showcase fights. They don't necessarily have to be competitive. If you want them to be competitive, fine. Like Floyd was going to face the former super featherweight champion that Ryzen wanted him to face, and they probably still might face him next year if things get better with this COVID situation. And that's, again, another showcase fight, but a much more competitive showcase fight. Seeing that Floyd came from super featherweight, and the guy now, he'd probably walk around 140, 141, 150. So it would be a fight in which the guy was a former super featherweight champion, but he has championship clout behind him, championship status, and he's big in Japan. So for him to face Floyd, that would be a decent exhibition fight. That would be a decent exhibition fight. Kind of like Jorge Arce. Jorge Arce was nowhere near Julio Cesar Chavez's weight class. He did face Julio Cesar Chavez, but he wasn't really, he came up from one of the lower weight divisions, right? Went all the way up. And, but he's significantly smaller than Julio Cesar Chavez. But it's an exhibition fight. Weight doesn't really matter, and judges don't judge it. It's just about having fun, mixing it up in there, and somebody get knocked out, they get knocked out. So it's like this exhibition fight between Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. Roy's significantly smaller than Mike, but that's not the point. It's about showcasing your skills. And Tyson really is passionate about charities. And even though Tyson may seem intimidating and stuff, and he probably has a mean streak in him still, he's a really nice guy, from what I get. And he really tries to make an intellectual and a very sensible point. Even when he's angry, he's coming from a nerdy intellectual perspective. Tyson's a nerd, if y'all haven't realized that by now. Very intellectual kind of guy, cerebral kind of guy. And so, that's what I like about Mike. There's a lot of things to really appreciate about Mike Tyson that I think a lot of people, a lot of people are intimidated by him. I guess it's the way how he looks. But Mike, even though he has a mean streak, he's street. Mike is street. He came from Brownsville, so what do you expect? He's gonna be street. And Mike, Mike has that street in him where, you know, he looked like he gonna beat your ass. He look at you and you get the message immediately that he's gonna he got that mean. He's a very nice guy, but he got a mean streak in him, and he'll have it till he dies. You know what I mean? And that's just the way he is. So, but a lot of people like, with Mike Tyson, they're like, Mike's facing Roy, and everybody's saying Roy's gonna get killed. Nobody's seeing it as a mismatch, right? You know why they're not seeing it as a mismatch? Even though Roy's been knocked out a couple times, it's not just Roy Jones Jr.'s cachet and name; it's what Roy is displaying. And Roy knows he's at a disadvantage in terms of the first couple of rounds. He's at a disadvantage because Mike Tyson is showing he's explosive. He looks very fit. His legs are not shot like Roy's legs are shot. So Roy's not Roy that we know, but Roy's going to be making adjustments. He's going to make necessary adjustments to handle a Mike Tyson. He's going to make the necessary adjustments to deal with that situation. And even though he don't have the greatest legs in the world, even though he's still quick on his legs, I see that. But he can't just be carrying them around the ring like that. He can't be continuously using them. He, even though his legs are not the greatest in the world, again, he has the IQ, the smarts to make this exhibition something that's interesting. It still could be competitive because Mike Tyson hasn't fought in 20 years. Roy has just fought recently in 2 years. Roy got an advantage on him. He always in the gym. He's always training people. He got another advantage on him. And then he's got great IQ, great boxing IQ. That's another advantage on Tyson. Even though Tyson has great boxing IQ, Roy can do a lot more things in the ring. So a lot of people think that Mike Tyson's going to knock out Roy. I get it. And that's what makes the fights, this particular exhibition fight with Roy and Tyson, so intriguing, But, not every exhibition, a lot of exhibition fights are not, highly competitive. Mikey Garcia versus El Terrible, Eric Morales. It wasn't competitive, but Mikey, paid homage to the great Eric Morales. You know what I mean? By doing the exhibition fight. So when you get the opportunity to have the whole world spotlight on you, Floyd is a big name in boxing, big cachet. When you got that kind of name and Floyd do anything, go say you're gonna do an exhibition fight, even though people are hating on him, anything he does gets their attention. Anything he does, right? So him versus Logan Paul is not a competitive fight. It's a non-competitive fight. If anything, Logan Paul might surprise us with one or two things. Even though Logan Paul is a cruiserweight, he's much bigger than Floyd. Much, much bigger than Floyd. And I see him, trying to punch the punching bag and shit. In a way, boxing, even though it's about weight classes and stuff, it has to do with if you have comparable skill sets and comparable abilities, weight classes come into the picture. But when you vastly don't have the same kind of abilities and skills, it don't mean shit. Weight don't mean shit, It's another thing that Roger Mayweather would say. Weight don't mean shit. Skills win you fights. He'll say power don't win you fights. Skills win you fight. The knowledge you have is about the smartest guy in there. So, That's what I got for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're coming up on 1 hour on what you need. If you like this channel, don't forget you can like, share, subscribe, donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. Peace.